So I've made the decision that that previous clip is going to be part of a larger video about the Isuzu Trooper because we got a lot of other things to do, and because it went so well, and because the microphone is working as intended, we are going to continue unabated. Okay, so next thing, when I changed basically when I went through and I changed the transmission pan and did everything with the transmission pan, changed the fluid, I lost the gasket that actually prevents it from leaking. I bought some new gaskets, and I'll show you here in a second, as soon as I walk back over here to the camera. It's a little windy, so we'll see what happens. This is a small this is a small copper ring that is going to interface between the screw and the transmission pan. And it's going to do that because copper is a relatively malleable metal. And what that means is, that as we tighten down the screw, it's going to crush, at least a little bit, the copper washer. And as it crushes the copper washer, is going to fill any small gaps in any small microscopic gaps that might be there. And that's going to be good if you want to prevent leaks, because it means that there's no gaps anymore for transmission fluid to escape. Oh, that's not really what I wanted to happen. Got a little bit of overfillage, but it's okay. Let us ensure that our copper washer fits over the screw in question. Just like that. And as we crush that down, it will create a very nice seal. Hopefully you can hear me. I just gotta wait for this to finish leaking. It's just kind of dribbling. So I've had to do this twice now. Because as just over time, from when we started it that last time, month and a half ago, transmission fluid was drawn up into the transmission itself and into the torque converter and stuff like that. And just over time, since then, as it sat, the fluid has drained back into the pan. And because when I filled it up in the first place, I filled it up to the overfill, as that transmission fluid has dribbled back down into the pan, it's gone over the overfill. And because of that, it's now dribbling a little bit. And I think we're good. Here we go. Screw going back in. And I'm going to torque it down this time, because that should be done. We should not have to mess with this again. It should now be able to stay sealed. And I'm also torquing it to try to crush that washer that I told you about a second ago. Now hopefully that won't leak again. Hopefully that is going to stay sealed for the better part of eternity. Okay, let's add a little bit of fuel. Okay, that was 2 gallons of gas, which will get us to the gas station. One of the things that I want to work on, or one of the things that I want to do, is put this inside, fuel injector cleaner, and to figure out why, because it gets really terrible gas mileage. It gets highly terrible miles per gallon. And we want to try to adjust that, or we want to try to at least diagnose why that is. And one of the things it could be is that the fuel injectors are not injecting fuel efficiently, and because they might be dirty. So fuel injector cleaner, as fuel gets into the engine, it's going to kind of got detergents and, you know, zinc and it's got stuff in it. I don't know what's in it. Does it say what's in it? No. But it does contain chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer, so that's how you know it's good. Okay. Next, I need to reattach the transmission support bracket that holds the transmission up against the frame. Because we had to remove it, and we had to remove it so we could get access to the transmission pan. And now that we've done all that and everything seems fine, and I fixed any leaks and we've added a gasket, I believe we can reattach everything back permanently. Try to keep you out of the sun. You know, I tell you what, I took a break, so I did that, so that's done. I had to go get some batteries for the microphone, crisp audio that you're hearing now, and then by the time, so I got some rechargeable batteries, and by the time I got back and the batteries charged, it started to rain, and it sounds like the end of the world out there. So I guess we'll take a break. It's a little wet, but we're not made of sugar. Oh, I forgot I put this bin out here. Well, it didn't rain that much. Anywho, we're gonna check the oil, see how things look. See if there's any room in there. For our additive. Yeah, it's full. So we won't add any of that additive just yet. Seems pretty clear. It's pretty yellowish. You know, the color it was when it came out of the bottle. So that seems fine. Battery still has juice in it because the anti-theft is working. Last thing we got to do is get everything out of it that doesn't need to be in here. Let's take a look. Empty box. Empty box. I gotta figure out where to put this stuff though. Shoot. Halogen lamps. Piece of trim. These are elements of a kayak. No, not kayak. Hammock. Not a kayak. These metal bars, you wouldn't get anywhere. You wouldn't get anywhere on a kayak with these things. You know how there's this like meme about men having like a crusty yellow pillow? I don't know why I have this. Don't at me. It's a good pillow. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I do have that little metal lathe in there. Well, shoot, that kind of changes things. I forgot. I didn't think I grabbed that. There's a metal lathe in the van right there that I grabbed from school that I bought, oh, I don't know, a little while ago. Really long. Actually, it's the first machine tool I bought. And it's in the van right there. For some reason, I thought I didn't bring it, and I did bring it. So that might be higher up on the list of things we want to do. Because it's a nice little lathe that just doesn't have... the electrical system blew up. You know, just like everything else I own, the electrical system stopped working. Tarp. We're gonna need this. We need this to our painting. Foam core boards that are soaked and miscolored and bent and not used for anything. I don't need this. Throw these in the trash. Smoke detector, it's probably still good. Probably has a little radioactive material in it that we're definitely not going to use for any experiments. That toolbox is resting on that, so let's not get too hasty. This is a sandpaper holder for holding a piece of sandpaper so you can sand nicely and flat. Some bubble wrap, that's still good. We'll take that inside. Empty container. Empty container, that's good. Some keys. Okay. This is another lathe. Of a different make and model and everything, but just as useful for small work. Some sandpaper, that's still good. A sock, probably need that. Screws, why not? Little baggie, why not? Block of aluminum, that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Put that inside. Toolbox with tools in it. Oh, goodness gracious. Impact driver of some kind, some sort. Is there batteries in here? I don't know. Kind of interesting. Taps. Socket wrenches. We'll separate that just because, you know, the rest of the socket wrenches are inside. Block of aluminum. Some door lubricant. That'll be good. Sharpening sanding stone kind of thingies. Hinges. Metal plates. Blocks. Bunch of miscellaneous tools. I think we'll come back to this. Well, actually, I'm going to take this inside. because my goal is to have at least all the regular hand tools sorted and put away. We can find them when we need them. That's the goal. Find things when we need to find them. Okay, this is a blower. It's a heat gun. We can use this for a lot of different purposes, a lot of different inventions, a lot of different projects. We've got a piece of aluminum here. This is a sheet of aluminum, or at least part of a sheet of aluminum. Some kind of bore, taper, something or other. If you're out there, if you know what this is, leave it in the comments. We've got a nice little tiny vise. That's nice. The old nice vise. Holding base for a grinder. That's nice. Okay, we have this shirt that I have avoided wearing because it has TPs on it, and I was told that was insensitive. Now, if you've been around for a little while, you surely recognize these. These are the original Mr. Warden's Workshop set letters. And I put them in here because these are the ones I'm going to turn into gifts for my family. So I need to set these aside. Okay, and I think that's it. I think everything else is going to stay in here. And our next step, so the next thing we're going to do next time, the next clip you see, so we're going to get in here and reassemble the console with the shift mechanism and kind of rebuild that, make sure that's still working. Although we might want to drive a little bit to make sure that before we put everything back together, you know what, the next thing you see, we might be driving a little bit. But I got to get this gate open, and then we'll come back to that. So, you know, for you guys, I don't know how long it's going to be, but for you guys, it'll be right now. Okay, well, it's been a while. I know I said I wanted to get after this before it got hot. Well, it's hot. I don't know if you can tell, my hair is a little bit longer than the last time you saw me because we had a storm that knocked us out of commission, and then we had a bunch of different things we had to do for the company. Again, building $1 billion company, not easy. But we're back in the car. We're here. It's hot. But we have to do something else before we start the car. I know I said we're going to start the car, but before we run the car, we need to reinstall this heat shield to protect the transmission control wires from the exhaust system. This has to be here before I run the car, lest we run the risk of melting the transmission. Like the stuff that controls the transmission, we need that to not melt. And that's what this is going to help prevent. So we have to reinstall this. So I'm going to meet you down below where we are right now. Below where my butt is, that's where we'll be. Here's the exhaust exiting from the engine. Hot. This is the engine. That hole and that hole are the two mounting points for the heat shield to protect these wires from this exhaust exit. Okay. Heat shield now protecting the transmission control wires so we don't lose transmission going on the highway. It's absolutely worth noting that the exhaust in a catalytic converter can get up to 1,000 degrees, and so yes, that very much could happen. Okay, welcome to inside the car. We are gonna make sure that she starts again. I think everything is okay. Just gonna pull the e-brake just in case. Bring the thunder. Ooh. All right, big fat nothing. This time, for real. No, okay. Totally dead battery. Okay, great. back to square one. I'm just gonna go ahead and boil this battery a little bit. You know, we're trying everything. We're really asking a lot of this little value craft, but just a few more starts. We just gotta see if everything's working before we invest in a new battery. So, hang in there. Okay. Bring the thunder. Not even a little bit. Okay. That would make sense considering I disconnected the battery. Okay, here we go. Just bring the thunder. The battery's just no good. The battery's just weak. It just needs help. This time, for real. Yeah, okay. Just needed some more cold cranking amps. Alright, let's move this. We're gonna move this back a little bit. Yeah, so I no smoke, no weird noises other than just the transmission being real dry. Just real dry. But we gotta get this thing, we gotta get a new battery for this thing, something with more CCAs. And then we'll go take it out on the road and see if see if we can get the rest of the transmission to come alive, because it's just real dry. But yeah, progress, you know, little things, little steps. But that's probably going to be the it for this video. So I have a special word from me, so stay tuned for that. Hold on one second. Hey neighbors, Mr. Warden here. Things haven't been going super great in the old workshop, so you know, I'm working on stuff. Things are happening, but slow. And so it's gonna be slow, and so, you know, stay tuned. Subscribe. So, that was okay. It worked. It drove, sort of, under its own power. I think the transmission is just real dry, and so, you know, it's tough to get it to do its work, but I think it will ultimately work, because we did see it did ultimately work once I kind of started babying it a little bit. So we will see that car again in part 3, because there's still more to do, and we still got to get it on the road, and we still got to get it registered, and we still got to get it insured and all that good stuff. So there's still things to do on the car, and we'll see what happens next on that. But in the meantime, subscribe, and we'll you know, you'll see what happens next when it happens.